It is Friday, 27 June 2025. I'm setting up for Debbie Perkins podcast. We're going to get everything up and ready here in just a few minutes. So let me get all the streams up so that we can get up and out. Hope everybody had a wonderful week. Doing great here. Hope everybody else had a great week. I'm doing pretty good so far today. We're just getting everything rolling. You know how it goes. Rolling. Gotta get those doggies rolling. Everything's coming up slowly but surely. We're on all the video platforms today. So, no radio. Doing a Friday special for Debbie always. Because we do it like the second and fourth Friday of every month. I'm going to be calling Debbie here in just a few minutes. I think she has some questions or some confusion about her guest today. I'm not sure about that. Pin the post. There we go. Pin the post. I'll get everything up and going here in just a sec. Just be patient with me. It is a virtue, so I'm told. Let me call Debbie up, see what we got. Come on, Debbie. There you go. There you are. So how are you today? There's some connection issues on Debbie's end.
Is Isn't that ridiculous? All I did was swipe away the other things that came up because I just got home. So like my internet, when it connects, whatever is on my phone goes cuckoo.
Yeah, it happens.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you good. Can you hear me?
Okay. I couldn't.
You have Jack today.
What the hell is wrong with this? Hold on.
Yeah, remember you got a hold of me earlier this week and say I needed a guest, and I got Jack for you. You have Jack scheduled.
No, it's supposed to be Siren.
No, I don't have. Remember, I sent you the.
Yeah, you sent me Jack. Jack sent me Siren.
What?
Yeah, that's how it worked out. Swear to God.
Because Jack's waiting to come in here in a little bit.
It's supposed to be Siren.
I don't have a banner for Siren at all.
Yeah, that was the switch out. He switched out, and that's why we had her in the chat.
Oh my! I have no clue because I don't go to Facebook.
Well, we had a three-way, and he was like, he couldn't do it today, but she could.
Oh.
So her and I talked quite a bit because she's more into galactic energy.
He messaged me this morning asking about the show.
Because we're supposed to have it with her. I don't know.
Maybe you'll have both.
Maybe I'll get 2 for 1 deal.
Yeah.
Anyway, so I'm just quickly, I changed my shirt, and I'm just like little by little trying to get kind of pumped up for getting for the camera, because the last thing I didn't look camera ready when I pulled in the yard, because cleaning, I don't dress up for cleaning. But I swear to God, that camper what we cleaned should have been a house. I'll show you pictures. The place was beautiful. Well, I take pictures after we get done cleaning because I make sure that the girl that we work for sees how, what we've done. So, all right, so
I have no clue who the Siren is.
She's awesome. Siren Wind. She has written multiple books. You're gonna love her. Oh my God, I already know. Oh, send me the link. I'll send it to her real quick. So crazy. So crazy. Trust me, my life has been bipolar for a while. I'm trying to make it normal. All right, let me see.
I thought for sure we had Jack today.
We would have had Jack, but we're scheduling him for a different day.
When's he scheduled then?
I don't know. Next month, he said. He would have space and time next month. All right. So send me the link real quick. So we'll get her at least prepared for 3 o'clock, if not 2:30, because she knows that we had set up for 2:30, but she didn't realize I was just going to be pulling in the driveway and rush into the house and get ready.
All right. Check your Facebook.
No, I'm on the messenger. Well, there was a group messenger. I wonder if you're part of that.
All right.
Oh, there. Okay, let me have that. I got that. Let me see. Let me copy that.
Yeah, we're gonna switch to that now. Now Jack's gonna come in on that one too. Because he's been talking to me all day. I'm like, all right.
Well, maybe he changed his mind at the last minute, but her and I have.
I don't know, but if
Mark, you're gonna love her, and
that's fine.
Nancy's gonna love her.
That's fine. Just a little heads up.
You're gonna love her because of the information she has, and let me send you some of that because you might be
No, I'll hear it in a little bit. It's like okay.
All right.
We are live all over the place right now.
Right now?
Yeah, we've been. As soon as I called you, I'm like, what's going on? Pre-show stuff. Come on. Deb, get your shit together. Come on.
I'm working on it, guys. I started a new job. You guys all understand what new jobs do.
Roger Hansen in the Kick Chat. Restreaming. Thank you, buddy.
It does make you poop when you start a new job because
it's
only my second week. So I'm like, my body's kind of getting back into the groove.
Mm-hmm.
but it takes a little bit of time because the first week I was like knocking out as soon as as soon as I made it home. I just wanted to go to bed.
Yeah, we got
But
Connie Cryptic in the kick chat too. Let me catch up. I've been trying to connect everything up, and I'm looking at all these people here. Welcome in everybody on all the platforms. Appreciate each and every one of you. Dark Lat Master over in D Live. Appreciate you coming in. We probably have more folks going to be coming in over there as well. We are on YouTube today.
oh, good.
As well on my channel there.
I might get kicked off because I'm going to try to give her a quick buzz. Okay. So if I get kicked off, I'll just rejoin. I just want you to know that.
Yeah. Come on, Deb.
Okay. I know. I can hear her. I can hear you over her. Stop, Cindy. That's my little tough dog.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I don't know if I can do a 3-way. I've never done anything like that before.
Do what?
3-way with Messenger and Teams.
We do it all the time.
What? You copy Messenger on the Teams?
Yeah, just add a person in. I don't even know. I don't know who she is, or where she's coming from. What she'll show up as on Teams.
Okay,
That's the thing.
She's talking to me right now.
In our group here.
Hang on. No, on her Messenger. Okay.
Because you and I are private right now.
No. Oh, all right. Well, I gave her the link, so should we go to the link? Or?
Yeah, and about like 3 minutes before the top of the hour.
All right, so give me a time give me a time
it like the
55.
Yeah, the 55 mark. Tell her to go over there and wait for us, and then I'll come in. But tell her not to call. I'll call.
Okay. Oh, wait a minute.
All right, and Jack will be over there too, I suppose, because I have Jack added in.
Well, Jack just sent me sirens, so I don't know. Those guys, who knows? I don't know. We'll talk to him about
All right, hold on. Let's get Jack in here right now.
38, 40, 10 minutes-ish? Maybe 12 minutes, 13 minutes?
Yeah, something like that. About
right.
15 or 20 minutes, something like that.
I did 13, so we'll switch over. I'll switch over in 13 minutes so that I'm there too.
Hold on, let me let me add Jack to this call.
All right. Lordy. At least I'm here. I was pushing it. I was driving I was pushing it. I was driving like a wild woman trying to get home.
Yeah, you're here.
I am. I made it with minutes. It was 2:18. I'm like, oh crap! I've got to get in the house. I've got to get a new shirt on because I had the work shirt on. I've got to at least try. So if I look like I'm been pulled through the weeds, I have been. But that's like I said, working.
There you go. Look out.
I'll do it.
Ooh, yuck! I'm on camera.
You are? I'm not, but I will be. As soon as I figure this out. I lost a brand new pair of glasses, like a dummy.
There we go. That's better.
Yeah.
The studio.
Broken back up. All right, she said, okay, perfect. She will be joining us. Mark, she's such a sweet girl. I think you're going to like her.
Oh, my God. Okay.
Hey, guys. All right. As you can tell, I am lounging. I just got home, so I put my camera on. I don't see you. Well, I do. I see your arm. That's a fact.
What's going on? Oh, there. That's what happened. I see.
I'm looking at you, Mark. I see your arm.
No, you're not. You don't see me at all. I see you.
I see your arm.
Yeah, you see my arm.
I see your arm.
Yeah, I can do hand gestures
I
this
can do a
way.
better setup. So let me kick the dog out of the chair so I can sit over there, and then I can.
Yeah,
Um,
I mean, the camera's too close for you.
I am gonna move it. Get lounging. Go. Get Bella. Go. I'm sorry if the dogs bark, but if I don't leave the door open, and keep them in here, they actually make more noise. Like it's almost like I can control them from like here for some reason, but they are loud.
Are they?
Don't mind them.
They're loud?
Well, yeah, I got 3 dogs. One's a Chihuahua. He's squeaky. And then I got the Lab, and then I got the Boxer Mix. The Boxer Mix makes the most noise. So let me get this set up. All right.
I figured the boxer would be a
Take
pain.
me a minute.
Huh?
How's the coloring? How's the coloring in my house? Is it too dark?
No,
Let
it
me go
looks
get light.
okay.
Does it? Are you sure?
Hey, I'm colorblind. That's why I don't normally do this
That's a lot of help.
camera
Hold on,
thing, you know? I'm like, okay.
Oh, laundry dog. Let's see if I can brighten it up. Get out, Tyson. Tyson, out. Go. Not dealing with you. Go. Jeez. Oh.
Young Zen in the house over in Kick. Appreciate you. Thanks for coming in. Getting all our
right.
folks together.
Getting me together. All right. How's the weather been? Pretty
Hot. Hot. Real hot.
good. Had a few days. But I'm grateful. I'm glad because I go sit at the river and I go swimming and I got my float and I just chill. And it's awesome. So
You look like you're really hot over there.
I got a tan. I'm getting a tan for being in the sun. But you got to be careful. You burn so quickly.
Yeah?
I do. I burn really quick. So how is that? That better color-wise?
You're asking me about color. I'm colorblind.
I know, but like lightness. Bring in some light. You're not light blind. See,
Okay, let me close my eyes and I'll tell you.
Okay, haha.
You're fine,
Funny,
Dab.
funny, Mark.
You're fine, Dab.
Such a wise guy. Look at this. I have to deal with. You can't even write this stuff.
Oh my God.
No, I got to go over to my dad's grave today. That made me feel so good. My dad and my grandparents. It just, spirit lifting.
Yep.
So the girl that I was with today, she let me stop in because we were driving right past the cemetery. So I'm like, I haven't been there in quite a few years. She goes, would you like to stop in? I'm like, yep, I do. So she was so sweet, and it was great that I got to stop there. I mean, I don't know. Everybody who has a lost family member, sometimes it just feels so good to reconnect with, even though that's a graveyard, it still has like.
When I go there, the first thing I do is to see how well the grave has been maintained, and
you notice those flat rocks.
And make sure that
grandmother and my grandfather are like sinking. They're little blocks. They have the big stone.
There's a few like that too.
It's a small one. It's like the earth is eating it. So I know that my brother had my dad's raised because that's what he would have done that. He goes there every year. So I think that he did that, but I think it cost a few bucks.
Linda Porter in the Facebook chat. Thank you for coming in. She's all the way in Australia.
Oh, how wonderful. I love Australia. I want to go there one day.
Yeah, once they've been liberated. Little Smug in the Kick chat. Hey, Roger, and all you mods over Kick. Hey, you guys can start, giving shout-outs in the chats. That's what you got that mod for. All right? I'll be over in... I got to pick up Roger's channel here in a few minutes because he's restreaming us.
Oh, wow. That's really neat.
Yeah.
Thank you. I want to send my appreciation to everybody that, takes part. I think it's fantastic. And I think you're super awesome people. And I always encourage anybody that if you have a story or you'd like to be on the show and you have something to share with the world, come and talk to me. I'm nice to everybody. I don't push nobody away.
Yeah. She doesn't bite hard.
And little never.
Well,
Like the Chihuahua.
that's what I've been told. I don't know, but that's what I've been told.
Who'll be telling you I'm going around being a biter? No alligator.
I won't. I can't confirm or deny anybody's names, but.
Yeah. Oh, you're such a liar. I would never. No. Homie, don't do that. I don't bite.
Yeah.
I might blow bubbles. I might blow bubbles, but not
in a hot tub. But
on your belly. You never did that to a kid? You never did that to a kid?
No.
Bubbles?
No.
What?
Okay, anyways.
That's just fun.
Yeah.
Talking about, well, babies.
Yeah, just babies.
Not weird.
No, no, not weird at all.
Not if you're a stranger blowing bubbles on some kids. Yeah, well, there's a problem.
Well, hey, we had a president that used to go around sniffing people's hair. So, what can I say?
Or touching the hair on
sniffing it.
Oh, Lord. Thank God he's not our president anymore, because I was starting to get worried. Like, what would the next laws be changed? To make it okay for Grandpa to nibble on the kid's ear and give him wet kisses?
Yuck.
What's next? Just saying. Honestly,
just saying. Yep, just saying.
We're living in a real weird world with, it's almost like you never know what's going to happen every day. And sometimes people that you think are going to be one way, they're another way. And it's just like, so.
Does she know? Did she get that message?
Yes.
Okay.
She said perfect.
Okay.
So she's going to join that link, like when I told her to. So do we have to get out of here and go over there?
Yeah, I'm going to. Not yet. We got a little bit of time.
I'm going to wait for you to call too, so she'll probably join the link and then maybe have to push the button to join.
Yeah, it'll work like that.
I think she's been on Teams before. I think she has. I couldn't tell you for sure, but I think she has.
I don't know. This that was one of that was one of Brian Sing's people.
Yeah.
So yeah, and I pretty much trust who Brian would send us. So
yes, Brian's wonderful.
That's who when you were like, hey, our Hollywood person decided that they can't do anything but a pre-record for a Friday, then hey, I got Jack on the phone and I had Brian Sang on the phone. Guys,
well, we'll get him on.
Got a crisis here,
That's okay, because it got complicated, and he's super busy. So, and I'll reschedule with him so that it goes to a time frame that it works best for him. It just got, it's weird, because when I booked him, weeks ago, it creeped up so fast, and then going to work and stuff, my brain is not focused on all of, I'm just trying to focus on the main, what I'm doing. So, anyway.
Hello there, Daniel Tricka over in Kick Chat. We're getting ready to set up for the Debbie Perkins podcast. At the top of the hour, we'll have a guest. Appreciate you. Where's my mods? Making me do all the work today, guys.
That's my evil laugh.
Well, it
to you, Mom.
is. It is my channel, but hey,
It's my evil laugh.
I might have to put a help wanted out there for more.
Yeah, moderator for hire.
No, not for hire. Are you paying them?
No, I'm not paying nobody.
Exactly.
Yeah, but off making ends meet. But hey, girls gotta do what a
Girls
gotta
gotta
do.
do, but a guy's gotta, find another way.
Well, I'm becoming a quality woman, busting my butt and keeping my house straight, dealing with life.
You're doing good. We're gonna.
Working on it.
Yeah.
Every day is a new day. Every day is a new day for something new. I already realized I got to take, instead of stepping with the right foot every day, I might have to step with the left.
On the left.
Only because sometimes you got to step. They always say,
Well, the good thing about being a girl is, don't you?
What?
You don't step on your dick like guys do.
Oh my God. You guys understand, audience? You guys understand what I got to deal with? My producer's crazy, but awesome. We love you, Mark. Thank God. You know what? I just know you so well. Your personality is. We've always clicked.
We always had a great time doing shows, and we'll continue to do that.
I think I would miss your voice. I actually, when I took that hiatus, I did miss your voice. I missed
really?
Of course I did, because I got, well, come on, I was talking to you every single week for like the last 11 years.
Well, sometimes we would do, like shows in between too. I'm like, damn, come on now, I've got to slow down here. You're gonna wreck me.
Being a part of all that, you become a thing in my life, where you're an item in my life, where I look forward to your voice, and I've always told you that your voice, you got a radio voice.
Oh,
no matter
you
what.
missed it last night. I was doing some DJ jams last night. Oh yeah, I was laying it down. Our friend Sonia was over there. Okay, Jack says he's ready.
Bring them all on. I don't give a crap.
Yeah, okay.
Show ever. I mean, who cares? We do what we do. Everybody loves it. That's all that matters. Hey, let's enlighten the world with their knowledge, their education. Their brilliance is going to shine. I always feel like everything happens for a reason. It is what it is. Hope I don't look stupid. You get this stupid jacket off here. There. Oh, it's covering the thing with a cat scratch chair. Sorry, guys. This is my cat chair, anyways. The animals love this chair. That's why I keep it.
All right, Deb. Give me.
We gotta go. We gotta go to the other channel.
Let's go switch over to there. I'll call you over there, and
all right.
Yeah. Just go ahead and hang up, and it'll hang us all up here, and we'll be good to go.
Well, all right.
No. Do. Oh, what? No! Stand by, folks. Stand by. Oh my goodness. Let's see here. Hey, Jack.
Hello, how are you?
Doing pretty good.
Good.
Now we got to get Debbie in here.
Now, if we can get the host.
Yeah. And she said something about a siren coming in too. Okay.
You are?
There you are.
Hi.
All right.
Yeah. Woo.
Hold on here. Let me fix the view and then get us off a standby.
Now Simon should be joining us too, you know.
I
So
didn't
let me
see-
send her a message to join us. Hi, Jack.
Hi, how are you, Debbie?
I'm good.
Good.
Let me see.
There we go.
Hold on. Takes me a second. All right.
Okay, 3, 2, 1, and you're.
Are you kidding me?
No, would I kid you?
You would, but sorry. So, all right. So she should join us in a second. All right, there. It's going to be interesting. All right. I hope I didn't lose you. All right, there
Yeah.
you are.
Are you ready,
All
Deb?
Yeah.
Okay, let's just go with it so that we can get this in before our time runs out, because we know teams.
Jack. I'll introduce Jack, and when Simon joins us, we'll introduce her.
Yeah. Okay. 3, 2, 1, go.
Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to the Hollywood Red Carpet Radio Show. I'm Debbie Perkins. I'm your host, and I have a really interesting two guests this week. I've got Jack Carey, who's cryptozoology, and I got Simon Wind, who is, I want to say, galactic energies, and, lots of information on that. So we'll figure out how that works. Jack, you know who she is, but welcome to the show, and thank you so much for joining us.
Yeah, well, thank you for having me. I'm glad to be here today. So, how have you been doing?
Great. And you're so busy with all these tours that you're involved with. But tell the audience a little bit about yourself.
Okay, well, I've been a field investigator into not only cryptozoology, but really all things paranormal for 30 plus years now. I'm the founder of the Paranormal Intelligence Agency, and I've been on quite a few docuseries that were produced by Gaia, which a lot of people may know me from. But it looks like we have a guest here.
That might be her.
Hi,
Siren.
Hi, Siren.
Hello. Jack's doing a quick introduction, and when he's finished, you can actually stop in and introduce yourself, and we'll just roll with the show.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah,
right,
sounds good. Well, I guess for the past 30 years, I've been busy sort of trying to develop new exotic theories, hypothesis surrounding paranormal phenomenon, and try to get a better view of the totality of the mystery of paranormal phenomenon on this planet. So, and today these days I'm primarily involved. I have my own radio show, Paranormal Intelligence Agency Radio, Wednesday nights at 7 p.m. You can find us if you want to get spooked out of your mind, because we approach some pretty scary subjects.
We love that.
So, but yeah, that's me. So
Wonderful. Now, Siren, tell everybody who you are and a little bit about what you do.
Sure. I'm Siren Wind. I've been working with frequency, sound, tone, and energy since I was a child, working with just the telepathic information I was receiving. I could feel the colors and the shapes of energy. I would watch my tone of my voice change energy. So I started really exploring and I say playing around with as a child to understand how I could tone or I could hum, and it was changing my environment. So through the sound and the tone, and also art and geometry, I would layer different imagery and feel how it was basically creating anything from nothing or transforming into something different through the layering. So that came into my healing works, working with frequency, sound, tone with others, and then creating books where they're activating for people to activate their remembrances of anywhere they've ever been, knowledge they have within them, other times, other lifetimes, etc. So, yeah.
That's really interesting. It really is. And you cross over to the paranormal a little bit.
Yeah, well, yeah, I've always, I mean, I never really guess I perceived it as paranormal, because since I was a child, I just felt an access to the other dimensional planes. And through just feeling that source connection, I could feel other realms or other energies around. So, and depending on what, octave or dimension of frequency would shift between, I could see different energies, perceive different beings or sine waves, which I wouldn't call it that as a child, but, different energy waves, different color waves present in that way. So that began very early on.
Now, Jack, do you work in more of a technical, or are you more spiritual?
More technical. Where I'm big on tracing physical evidence and really the sort of provenance or the chain of custody of evidence, the best evidence, I guess, that's out there for any given paranormal phenomenon. But no, primarily interested in physical evidence because in my, experience over 30 years, physical evidence is the only thing that really convinces an unsympathetic populace that a lot of these phenomenon are real,
So many people are still skeptics. And a lot of skeptics are like, if you notice, there's a lot of people out there that go, I didn't even believe in that until it happened to me.
Right. And
then all of a sudden they're 100% believing because they had an experience.
Right. And that's been my experience. I know I have a good case when the primary witness involved in the case starts to make profound life changes because of the experience that they had. That's when you know that something truly occurred that is supernatural. And so, we've had a number of those cases over the years, but these days I try to examine new theories and evidence and discoveries in the paranormal world, things like the so-called hitchhiker effect, which many people have never heard of before, but it's been discovered by some of the world's best scientists who are involved at like Skinwalker Ranch and with the Pentagon's OSAP program having to do with the now they call them unidentified aerial phenomenon instead of UFOs, but the Pentagon's program had a number of scientists that were sort of working on stuff at Skinwalker Ranch at the same time that they were working on the Pentagon's program.
Oh,
and
wow.
They would study the UFO phenomenon, right, all day long. These are hard-boiled scientists and intelligence agents. There were a lot of intelligence agents involved in all of this. And they would go home from a long, hard day of studying the UAP evidence that they had, only to experience a wide array of other kinds of paranormal activity beginning to manifest all around them. In other words, imagine you're an intelligence agent with the highest top secret clearance you can imagine, and you're the guy. You have access to all that information, and you're studying that every day. And then at night you go home, and all of a sudden there's poltergeist activity. There's full shadow entities walking across the room. There's material objects that just blink into existence and blink back out of existence. And I might add, it culminated in the Pentagon's program with a encounter with an actual dogman creature. All of this was chronicled in the book Skinwalkers at the Pentagon that was written by Dr. Colm Kelleher and the famous journalist George Knapp, the guy who broke the story of Area 51, wrote a book called Skinwalkers at the Pentagon, in which they chronicle all of this information for people that want to do a deep dive. But yeah, there was an intelligence agent walking the grounds at Skinwalker Ranch with a couple of other guys, a couple of scientists, and it was at nighttime, and they came across an entity that was non-corporeal. It didn't have a body, but they could feel the energy, the presence, the strength of this thing, and it emitted pure terror in them. It basically caused them to freeze in fear, right? Simultaneous to that, 1,000 miles away, the intelligence agent's wife, in her home near Langley, Virginia, which is where the CIA headquarters is, went to her sink to get a glass of water, and it's approximately 3 a.m. in the morning. And she looks out across her property and sees an upright, canine-headed, bipedal dogman creature standing next to one of her trees, staring at her through the window. Right? She thinks she's going insane. She doesn't say anything. She's petrified, however. And then a couple of days later, the two teenagers in the home are midday, 10 a.m. in the morning, so mid-morning, in the game room of the house. They notice movement at the window. They look up to see this dog man creature staring in at them. Their first reaction wasn't to run away, it was to run right to the window, which they did, and they could see this creature running away, kicking up leaves as it went. So this was a physical, in the body creature.
Wow.
And is what they're calling the hitchhiker effect. And it worked like a paranormal virus, right? And this is where it gets crazy, is that these people would take it home, and all of a sudden it would begin to affect their spouses, then their children, then their neighbors, then their neighbors' children, then their neighbors' children's friends. And it went out like a virus in concentric circles from there.
That's crazy. That's scary.
Right.
Like, now, Simon, do you have any input on this? Because you work with galactic energies.
Well, I've experienced a lot of different, like, I guess I would even call it like a shapeshifter in a way too. Like, it kind of reminds me of what you're saying with the dog, dog-like figure, where they kind of, I want to say, blurb in and out, where you can kind of perceive them, but then there's, but it's not an energy that feels pleasant, by any means. It's very, you could say, scary, the energy, or how they kind of come in, or what it feels like they're actually doing. But yeah, I've perceived that before, in certain areas where it feels like there's either portals, or like energy's wobbly, or there's like a time warp or a couple overlays. A lot of times it's in these military areas where there's tunnels, different systems going on where, the general public doesn't know about, but they're manipulating different frequencies, or even, kind of pummeling, you want to say, lower frequency tones through these areas, so that people aren't all the way there, where they feel like they're really conscious and aware of what's going on, because the frequency is so low that it's creating all this distortion. And that's when I've noticed those kinds of energies.
I think that's really interesting. What do you think, Jack?
Well, yeah, and talking to a sensitive like Siren is fascinating for a paranormal investigator, because they have a whole set of sensory input that can't be duplicated, and you can't, there's no way to tinker around and create a device that can sense the same thing that these people are able to sense and to pick up. And so that's always fascinating. And we have to remember that really our concept of reality is made up of vibration, frequency and sound.
Right.
It's all made up. It looks like matter to us, but it's vibrating energy, and so it makes a lot of sense for somebody to be able to, just sense that in different areas and places.
Well, and the other thing too is some of these areas with the earthquakes and the earth opening, like physically opening up, energetically opening up with the pure energies that we're receiving as the earth frequencies are rising. These like physical areas are opening, quaking open, and like I had this experience in my house, house I used to live at, where my cats, I have two cats, they were running around chasing what I could feel like was this boisterous energy that was like fluorescent, and it literally felt like it wasn't harmful in any kind of way, but it was like it came up from the ground because there was an opening, and it was so excited to like move around and be free that it was bouncing off the walls so fast. And my cats could sense it clearly. I could feel it, and it didn't feel like anything other than like that would be harmful. Other than like it got almost like lost, like it got out, and was like, "Where am I?" And bouncing inside of this building, and that's happening a lot too with like the oil drilling, especially in Texas, where things are opening up, or other oil drilling too. Energy is opening up, it's quaking open, there's mudslides, and all the inner earth beings, all the inner earth energies, crystalline, cities, and everything that's been within for so long since the consciousness fell and has been, parallelly coexisting is now coming to reweave back to those that have awareness to do that again, as we harmonize and come into oneness, that some that can perceive are feeling and sensing all these energies that have really been on all these different planes the whole time, but they're making themselves more known as the earth is opening, which is really fascinating.
That's an amazing point of view.
Yeah. I sense that so much because everything is opening. And a lot of times when I'm traveling or even moving about, being relocated to where I feel magnetized to be, for a project or something like that, it's working with the earth energies. And what I'm noticing more and more with the earth energies is that there are, all these different civilizations that one could say that they've ascended, in these other time periods, say native people, etc. Well, they took their bodies with, but their energies are underground. They're living right there. And all of the parallel layers of the other beings that are alongside them, or say, interdimensional travel, or the other things that are opening, people either interfering directly with portals, or doing ceremonial things, opening holes where they don't belong, or the military stuff too is a lot of wobbly energy where things are coming through, like not desirable, the shapeshifter things and the, I'm trying to think of the term. I remember hearing in northern Arizona about was it skinwalkers? I think it was. But there's a lot of people that were having experiences where they were seeing that because there's these openings, and they're not desirable energies that are meandering through, through the layers, depending on what you can sense, feel, or even see sometimes. Or they'll move objects. It can be a lot to interact with or just witness because some of that you don't want to, right? You don't want to you don't want to start interacting with some of those things and receive an attachment.
No, Jack, would you say that the Skinwalker, because a lot of people have heard about Skinwalker Ranch, but there are people out there that are uneducated on what that is. Could you explain what that is? And are these entities that they're experiencing, are they on a negative level, or are they a neutral, or what would your best advice be on that type of sort of situation? Because that to me, it's a unique situation.
It is, and Skinwalker Ranch is its own sort of unique, I guess, case in a way because of the nature of the consciousness that appears to be on that property. But it's interesting that, it got the name Skinwalker Ranch because the indigenous people there associate anything paranormal with skinwalkers. But I've done a ton of investigation work on Navajo Indian reservations, and that's really where skinwalkers come from, is the Navajo culture. And in their culture, they believe that there is a group of dark practicing witches, a coven, if you will, that's been operating within the Navajo Nation for eons, for centuries, and that they have very powerful abilities, and they have to actually go through nefarious acts and things. They have to basically murder a family member to be able to get into the coven, and then that's actually held over them as a way of getting them never to leave and never to relinquish any of the secrets of the Skinwalker witches, right? But you have other things that are shapeshifters that aren't Navajo Skinwalker witches. It just so happens you have a group of people that practice a form of really dark witchcraft that allows them the ability to shapeshift. But that's different than a shapeshifting. We suspect there are actual creatures out there that are much like there are species of octopus in the ocean, like the mimic octopus, can pretend to be many different animals, take their shape, take their form, take their color, take all of that. And I'm in the opinion that there are probably land creatures very much like that we don't even suspect, because every time we come across them, they're camouflaged as something else.
Right. They blend in.
Right.
So you probably don't like cloaking.
Right.
They're wearing a cloaking cloak or whatever, and you can't see them. And I think a long time ago I asked somebody about is there a possibility that some of these beings could be, because they have this amazing cloaking device, could they be aliens instead of ghosts?
Right. And it's, I've even, things are so weird. Yeah. Things are so weird at Skinwalker Ranch. I've entertained the notion that maybe it's haunted by the ghost of an alien of some kind. Because
it's energy.
Yeah, because of just the trickster nature. It's conscious. It knows when the people leave the ranch, and then it plays with the cameras. At one point it took 3,000-pound bulls and stuffed them all into a tiny little trailer while everybody was gone. And when they came back, they couldn't find their prize bulls. And then they found the bulls all stuffed into a trailer that would normally only fit one. And they were in a hypnotic state.
Oh, wow.
They've had instances where, cattle have been mutilated on a number of occasions on that ranch. And one of the weirdest pieces of evidence, I think, comes from security video footage. So they eventually put security cameras in every room all throughout the ranch, right? Because of the weird stuff that was going on. And in one of those footages, they caught one of the computer screens in one of the rooms flickering on, and a message appeared on the screen, and the message was, "I live."
Oh.
That is strange. That is frightening. I would so run away from there. I would not stay. What would you do, Siren?
I would do the same, and I probably wouldn't return.
Well,
Unless somebody oh, go ahead. Go ahead.
So that's scary.
Yeah.
I mean, to me, it comes across as a little bit on the demonic negative side. So to me, it's like it's too frightening. I mean, and not that our connection with extraterrestrials should be all positive, because that would be ridiculous to even think that. But to be more on the fear factor, scaring people, making people go grab a gun just to like protect their properties and whatnot. I mean, what kind of trouble could we get ourselves into if we experience something like this and it frightens us to the point where we take up arms against it because we think could be some weirdo in a costume out there, but it's actually a being that we don't understand and we haven't had a chance to. Maybe the government knows about this stuff because they know about stuff we're not allowed to know, but we don't know. So we don't know how to react as a human being to these types of energetic beings, so to say, or even the energy that can come from, like Siren talks about, like the energy and how it's connected to all these beings, and then on top of to us. So how do we prevent ourselves from going to war against these things when we don't know that these, and it's happening, there's more things happening left and right. People are always filming the sky now. If you didn't notice, like people are obsessed with stars that flick and groups of lights in the sky are combining, and then they're separating, and then you know what I'm talking about, you guys?
Oh yeah, yeah. Worldwide UFO UAP activity is really really going on crazy right now.
I think it's off the charts because we all have internet and we have the opportunity to be able to see the things that people would normally talk and log, but not really like make the big time news unless something dramatic happened, and then like the shooting down of the aircrafts back, what was it, a year ago, Mark?
Yeah, something like that. Well, it wasn't the aircraft, it was drones.
See, and that's another whole thing. Like they know our technology, they know how smart we are or how dumb we are. They can tap into our satellite systems. I'm almost positive that they are more highly intelligent than we could even imagine being. And then you guys saw that recently they posted about that big telescope seeing all those multiple galaxies. Like, we'll never be alone. We're going to be bothered for the rest of our lives as long as we're here, because I think that they're going to notice that this is an active planet. This is a planet that has life and abundance and just biochemicals of human to animals to, like, we're surviving, we're living, we're thriving, but for how long, you know? And then we got these beings that they're well aware of us because they're probably older than the human race, and I would say that they might have a lot more intelligence than us because we're babies. If you ask me, the human races are babies. We're all learning. Well, they're probably, light years ahead of us, not with the educational knowledge of life. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, well, and the problem really that's going to come about with UFO alien disclosure, which is going to happen very, very soon. It's almost to a breaking point, and we call it catastrophic disclosure for a reason, because they've had ample amount of time to sort of release this and that to warm the public up for what's coming. But the real problem is that this non-human intelligence will have a superior ontological understanding of the universe. It will have a better understanding of the true nature of what created the universe and how that creation actually works, right? That's going to come into direct conflict with existing geographically based belief systems that we have on this planet. And most religions on this planet are geographically based. They developed in geographic areas according to the needs of that particular populace. And all of that gets wiped clean in a single move. What does a species do then? Because when you look back into the history of humanity, we see example after example of collapsed societies, advanced societies, ancient Egypt, the Mayan, the Roman Empire, it goes on and on. All of them were preceded by a collapse in the belief system which gave birth to that society. And
Wow.
so when you come across a life form that has a completely superior belief system to anything you've conceived of before, how do you as a species survive at that point? And that's called ontological shock. And there's plenty of us in the ufology community that are really, really worried about the depth of that ontological shock when it comes, and it's coming very soon. I mean, over the course of the next few months.
Wow. Now, what, Simon, do you feel some of that, like what he's talking about? Do you feel the energies are changing? What is your advice on helping people to understand what's happening? Because, like you said, there's a lot going on with all the volcanoes. Now we're dealing with war. You know, you guys all realize what just happened recently with Trump and all those bombs going off. I mean, for every time we bump the earth, I mean, I'm thinking that that's gonna change something.
Well, that's what's important about being essentially being here now, is that we're all energy and we're frequency, we're vibration. So what we're vibrating is the change of how we can stabilize, how we can help transform, and how we can shift versus going into this fear frequency, because the fear frequency is very low vibration, right? It's a low frequency, and that has a completely different dynamic and impact to others. And if we're remaining in our heart as much as possible, tuning into love and all the pure tone energies, which we're actually receiving very pure tone, high frequency, light codes, sun codes, plasma, pure energy. And instead of getting vacuumed, so to speak, into these fear energies, we can actually realize the vastness of the cosmos. There's so many beings, there's so many civilizations nobody even really, not nobody, but many people don't know about. We're going to come to find out who all our relatives are. I know it's shocking to some to know, we're not the only ones here, right? It's shocking to some people, but the truth is that it must be revealed, and it is, because we all are to co-create and create a new world that's not this duality, confusion that's been overlaid for so long. And I think the more that the pure tone energy is arriving, and the more people are awakening through these waves of high energy, that they're opening to realize that what's been told and projected in these stories, that doesn't add up, and all these distraction creations of these dynamics of duality or war or even scarcity with this monetary, all of that. It's all been created to create the quantity of fear frequency, which is a limited. I mean, you look at the fear, that energy, your heart field is so small when it's vibrating that way, or vibrating so slowly. And to really dissolve all of that through this potential, we really have the potential to shift out of that, which we are, and some may choose not to do that, or may not stay through these transitions, but we're returning to unity consciousness. That's what this is all catalyzing to. It's just really, no matter what is being projected, what's being shown, or what kind of goofy stories they're showing themselves as like goofy stories, aren't they? Like, some of them are so unbelievable of some of these things that are coming to light, the truth coming to light, that it's starting to wave through, like, well, how did we not see this before? How this is so obvious, how it's been hijacked and created and overlaid in confusion for control, to create this or that, polarities, dualities, one against the other, for those specific intentions to prolong the inevitable, is humanity finding out its divine true nature.
I think that's incredible. I love the way you think about that, and I think that's great advice for like people who are trying to learn about what's going on. The both of you have such great insights on what you're talking about, and I think it's very interesting. To honestly, I've heard some of what you've talked about in the past, but never in such depth, if that makes sense. And Jack, now what are other things that you are dealing with? Because you're doing a lot of tours, and people are going to ask you a million questions. I'm quite sure. That's what happens when they ask you a whole bunch of questions. Um, and that, I mean, it's a given, and because everybody thinks you know all the answers, but you know some of the answers, and you know the ones that are the most important to you, which, of course, would roll over to everybody else. But what are some important things that you do that people would like to know about you?
Well, for 30 years, I did all kinds of field investigations. And these days, I'm able to kind of pick and choose when I do a field investigation. And a lot of my time is spent, writing books. I have 10 published books on paranormal phenomenon.
Oh wow!
That are out there and available for people. And, you know, for a long time, I've been trying to develop these different theories as to what might be taking place, and to kind of, segue over to what Siren was saying was that, you know, we're basically in a stage, a planetary cycle known as the Kali Yuga. And the Kali Yuga is an interesting thing. It takes us through dark ages, but it also takes us through ages of divine enlightenment, and we go through golden ages and things like that, right? Well, for about the last 360 years or so, we've been on the ascending part of that cycle in the Kali Yuga. Now, to give a visual of what that means when you're on the planet, because that's really what matters, is the Earth is basically, a lot of the time, there is a debris field that blocks the Earth from the center of the galaxy. There's something going on at the center of the galaxy that is divine in nature. It's made up of, we don't even know how many stars, but there is a type of harmonic vibration that emanates from galactic center. And when it does, it appears as though it affects life on all the planets in that particular galaxy. This is like a natural mechanism. Well, think of it like the Earth going through a rotation where it pops up above this little debris field for a while. And when it does, it gets bombarded by these rays from galactic center. And when we get bombarded, everything goes good. People get smarter. People live longer. Breakthroughs happen. There's golden ages that occur. All of these great things occur in that stage of the Kali Yuga, right? Because we're receiving bombardment from these amazing divine, energies. Then we go back around again through the debris field, and that causes another dark age to occur where people actually literally get dumber. And they're all, society begins to devolve instead of evolve. We've seen that in the past, right? And then you pop out the bottom of the debris field where you get bombarded again by these rays, and this cycle occurs over and over again. And this was called the Kali Yuga, but that's exactly what's happening on a planetary scale. Wow. And so we're on the ascending part. We're now getting bombarded by these cosmic rays, but the Webbot's telling us we're kind of still in that chaotic phase. We're coming out of that chaotic phase to some really amazing breakthroughs, but it's going to be turbulent for a little while here.
Yeah, because I don't think we need any more dumber people.
Right.
I don't think we need any more of them, because honestly, when you said it makes people dumber, the thought that came to my head was like, we've already got enough dumb people. We don't need more.
I know.
We need people that focus on wonderful things and learning, like you folks are teaching everybody today about what you do and how things proceed through your thought process. And I think that's educational. But dumber people, hopefully don't need it anymore.
We got plenty of crazy too.
We sure do. We sure do. But I think that healing energies can help. And Siren, you know a lot about the healing energies on top of the what you call it, the sound waves, or what was it we were talking about the other day was learning how to work with these energies.
Well, and that's what we get the opportunity right now to do, is because what that chaotic, I guess you could say, call it that way, that's happening is all of the distortionary energy that either people are holding in their body, in their energy bodies, in their fields, in the earth, like and beyond, like all of that is getting pummeled with pure tone cosmic frequencies and source energy. And what that's doing is it's vibrating any distortion to come up, to discharge, to transform, to dissolve, to release, to reconfigure, recalibrate, put into divine right order. And seeing those things for what they are, whether it appears like somebody's being triggered, and having something physically go on, or an ailment, a disease, or a mudslide, a fire, etc. It's ultimately doing so as like Jack was saying, part of the cycle to purify, come into clarity, and give us that opportunity to transform it, because we really all are. We're all sound healers. We're all energy transformers. We're all frequency transformers. We have that innate ability and awareness. And when we're in those experiences, or even if we're watching, somebody talk about, say, something tragic or something happening, an illness to somebody, we can still perceive it in a way that's transformative. Like, we have the ability in any moment to decide, how do we want to transform this? How can we maybe neutralize a pattern, see something in our lives that we can clear, reconfigure, maybe, start something different, or realize something that's falling away. People are talking about their jobs falling away, or their need to move, they need to do all these things differently, and it's really for their benefit, happening for them, so they can see maybe there's a path that's different. Maybe there's something that needs to come up, that needs to clear, known or unknown, could be from another life, or who knows where, ancestral, etc. But it's coming up for a reason to dissolve away. So in these instances, we can look at that and feel again, right? Because a lot of the distortions and the distractions were to numb feeling, to be too busy to feel, to not see it, because, we're on the cycle of the wheel, the hamster wheel, doing the same thing. But when you pause, when there's an emergency or an instance, you want to say a tragedy, a health issue, etc., or, a natural, disaster, if you want to call it that way, is like, that's the pause button to see something so visibly, to have that opportunity to feel, how can we transform from this, even our perception or our own bodies, sense, like, well, where does my shoulder hurts, for just making up an example, but my shoulder hurts. Well, what might that symbology be? What can I let go of, or where might this be coming from, or where do have grief, etc. And working with that directly, because we can find out through stillness or pause, or something getting obliterated away, where you're literally standing there within yourself, that you can go within and find all the answers, how to transmute, how to transform, how to change your mind, how to change your life, which in turn will change everyone else's life, whether you're aware of it or not. So tuning into the energies that are in your life, something's not feeling harmonic, not feeling harmonized, how can we work with that to take our sovereignty back, which we've always been, but there's some layers of forgotten overlay to distract from that, but come into realization that we can actually transform it ourselves. What do we want to do differently?
That's true. That's amazing. And Jack, now some of what she says, how can that cross over and help with the paranormal? Because I think that it kind of goes hand in hand, because what she's talking about is working with energies, which and we're all beings. We're all energy based.
We are, and a lot of my research these days, I think that's valuable insight, and for a lot of people, over the course of the next few months, there's going to be a lot of turbulence coming about. One of the things I do is track cyber prophecies through a mechanism. It's a series of algorithms designed called the WebBot, and it's mixed with a lot of other things like artificial intelligence and Vedic astrology and things like that. But it's been highly accurate in the past, predicting various events. And it's saying over the next few months or so, there's going to be a very turbulent period for people where everything is challenged. And basically it's saying, all of the stress points that we've had since May up till present day, you could take all of those stress points. You're going to get all of that many points again just in July, but ratchet it up another 50% on top of that, right? And there's all of these cross currents and cross winds taking place. There's going to be a lot of economic turmoil. There's going to be some interesting things take place. It doesn't, however, predict any sort of World War III, which is interesting. Those conflicts sort of fizzle out according to its predictions, and much bigger changes kind of wash over humanity in a very short period of time. It's coming. So
I think that's amazing. I think this is the show today to me feels like it's been needed. Like, I think people need to know these things. What both of you have offering the public, I think, is huge on both levels. On your level, Siren, and as well on yours. You know what I'm saying? Like, I think that Jack and both you, Jack, and Siren have so much to offer people at this point in time for knowledge. I think the show is meant to happen.
No, that's great. I love talking about it. So
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, I think that it's the right timing. I think that people need to know now, before any more happens, before we look up at the skies and something's actually parking itself in your backyard. Learning a little more about what's going on up there, and not just like physically. I'm talking emotionally, like, because if you didn't notice, I swear to God, I feel like Mercury has never left retrograde ever. So many people. I mean, like, you could go to the most calm place in the world, and like a library, just say, and there's going to be one angry person that's going to change your energy. You might have walked in there with intentions of happiness and joy, and then you just run into that one person that world rubbed them wrong all week, and then they leave you with their energy, and then you walk out of there going, ugh, the energy of frustration and anger, and then your mood changes. Are you guys experiencing that, or is that just me in my little world?
No, I totally believe that's true, and more and more people are becoming empathic in that way. So,
well, it has to come out. All the distortion, all of it, anywhere underneath any rug, any dust bunnies, anything that needs clearing on any layer, level, internal, everything is a mirror, right? So if something is externally going on, internally it's basically the soul screaming to let it out, to release it. They've been carrying it too long, and that's happening with the earth too. But everything anything that's distorted has to clear so we can rebuild, so we can, recalibrate, so we can build everything all the way down to the base, but all the way within the core. It has to come clear all the way within. That's why even the internal core of the earth is clearing, the oil sliding around through the drilling, and the rise of all these sediments that have been buried, these ancient cities we're finding out about, everything that has been embedded energetically within the earth of the traumas in the earth has to come clear. So it's going to be, especially this transitionary time, I feel like really between now and 2027, it's going to all have to clear out to reconfigure. This is a huge transitionary time. So it's going to be a little loud with the energy that needs to die essentially and dissolve, completely collapse, has to come into right order. It has to come completely pure. So it might be a little loud. It might be a little ugly, you want to say, energetically sometimes, because people are popping, their balloons are getting popped because they've been holding that stuff so long. So is the earth, all these layers of these different, galactic wars on earth, different continents shifting, planets blowing up, stars colliding, all that's embedded somewhere and has to be cleared. And some of these energies you were talking about before with the like the shape, shapeshifters per se, but the other energies that feel kind of in the negative realm, a lot of those energies are trying to express to clear and come into right order too. They're, say they're trapped energies somewhere, or somebody didn't entirely cross over, or another energy doing whatever it's doing. It's essentially trying to express to get something or someone that can hear it to help them reconfigure. So we have the ability to help the earth clear these other energies that are trying to communicate with us, assuming we know who that is or what it is, obviously, to discernment. But it's very important to know that there's a lot coming out to clear out. It's a lot.
I think so too, because it's kind of sad. Like, I mean, you can't even go in a parking lot nowadays. There's always going to be somebody that either cuts you off or gets angry with you. I mean, it's silly. To me, it's just silly, but it just feels like there's a lot of negative in the energies of human beings. I mean, I'm so overwhelmed when I meet a nice person that's kind and they're caring, because I'm not used to that nowadays. Back when I was a kid, oh yeah, everybody was nice. But today, it's almost like you have to, it's almost frightening to meet so many negative people. And then, usually the people that you meet that are positive are much older. They're like in their 70s because they've lived through way worse. They've dealt with more, they understand life's hard. Today, life is only as hard as the person getting off the couch wants it to be. There's people that don't even want to get up to go to work. They don't want to focus on what the world needs. They don't care. It's almost like people stopped caring about progress of the earth. And if it weren't for all the millions of men that built the bridges in the world, what would happen today if we needed bridges built? So I'm wondering how the energies have changed besides the generations. We're in different times.
Well, there's been a lot of manipulation with what's been, subliminally put into the thought form waves, to have people think a certain way or believe, all these fear thoughts. And that's what's really all these programs, these overlays, or these confusions, inversions is what's coming up to be seen. And some people are angry when they're seeing that, right? They're hearing about these manipulations, or they're feeling they were manipulated in some kind of way, and they're feeling a lot of things about that. So there's a lot that needs to purify, because people have emotions as humans, right? So it needs to be merged, and the confusion I feel with polarity, where you say, light, dark, good, bad, this whole thing is that nothing is inherently good nor bad, but we need to harmonize it into neutral. Like we need to bring it all into neutral, into singularity. So, this dark light harmonized in the middle is the sacred neutrality, where there isn't a charge. So there isn't this, energy charge where people are getting fired up, or they're getting, overly swayed one way or the other, but they're able to be centered in their heart. In order for that to do so, all this other stuff, wherever it came from, however it's been, these confusions of, thought forms, etc., has to come out, has to harmonize and neutralize.
Has to be purged from the planet and the people.
Yes. Yeah.
Because
yeah.
if it doesn't, it's just going to collapse.
Well, and that's a lot of the contact and different beings that we're seeing. Oh, there's so much traffic in the sky and all these other beings coming. A lot of that is because they have the ancient awareness of what true unity consciousness is, and how to coexist and be in harmony. And through these processes of all the, chaos, however you want to say, with their restructuring, they're coming to help. They're coming to assist in the process of re-implementation and reorganization, so that everyone can remember who they are. It's not a fear of, who's landing on my roof, or what ship are they on, right?
Right. No, and
the party ship. I'll take the party.
all aboard the mothership, as the Parliament
having a good time.
Funkadelic likes to say.
We can have fun, just don't be messing with the probes. Keep them in the pocket. Leave them alone.
Yes,
We can have fun with everything else, but
keep probes to a minimum.
that's so funny. We got, what? And I hope everybody's laughing about this, because that's actually quite funny. We're going to take a really quick break, everybody. We'll be right back, so don't leave us. We got more to share.
All right, Deb, I'm going to let this actually close out.
Mark has to do things a certain way because of teams.
Yeah, and then what we're going to do is, if everybody can come back, that'd be great. I'm going to take and start us back and on the next one. Hopefully everybody can make it into the next one. Are you still good to go, Jack?
Yeah, for about another half hour or so.
Okay.
That's fine. I think that would be great.
Yeah, we normally do a 1 hour show, but since we have two guests, I'm like, Debbie, we need, we can get this knocked out, do it. And I'm going to put part of this up as a special, and I'm going to block out the other two parts. Well, block each hour out into separate shows. That way it'll be part one, part two, but there will also be one that's all combined that even has the breaks like we're having here in it. Okay? That will be part of the special. Roger Hansen, check in the chat, guys. He put some stuff in the chat. Jack, you could probably answer that one.
In the other half of the show, I'd like you folks to talk about your books, because both of you are authors. Both of you have multiple books out, and I'd like you to talk about just a little bit about each book, so that gives people a little insight on your published work, so that they know what direction they want to choose on your work. And I know, Simon, you also have some awesome books out as well.
Yeah.
So we're gonna split it up so that Jack talks about his books, Siren, you talk about your books. We draw people into the interest of the work you've been working on for all these years.
Yeah, and then also about that.
I'm gonna get a drink of water, everybody. I'll be right back.
Yeah, and also with that, I'm sure Debbie's going to want to have each of you back separately again later on. All right.
Oh, for sure.
All right.
Oh my God.
Anytime.
Because this kind of caught me off a little guard too already, but that's fine. We're good to go. I'll get it going.
Cool. Cool. Yeah, when where you archive this one, I'll get it out to all my social media.
Yeah, I will archive this all out. It is even on YouTube, so you can actually catch that and put it over to your channel there, Jack and Siren. If you have a YouTube channel,
Yes, I do.
okay, you can add that too. We always let the guests take and put that stuff up, whether it's from YouTube or any other platform that you want to take and record it, or get the even when I take and post out the links after it's been edited. All right.
Okay.
Cool.
But there is a raw copy going right now. All the platforms pretty much make a copy of all the shows when you take and stream to them. There's few exceptions, and I don't think I'm on any of those that don't. So we are on right now probably 16 platforms. All right. Well, folks, stick around. Hold on, because I'm going to bring those folks right back. Just let me put you all on standby here for a sec. Yeah, I'll get the call going again. And hopefully we'll get Debbie back right away. So I hope everybody out there is enjoying the show and the stream today. Multitasking, like I said, multitasking has never been my forte, but hey, I do a lot of that when I take in. Have to do a lot of that when I do the production work here, whether it's just streaming to multiple platforms or multiple platforms plus the excuse me, the radio stations too. Baby Girl 143 in the Kick Chat, along with Roger Hansen and Marco DJ Channel. So, let's get the folks back in here.
Oh, there we go.
There we go. Yeah, with this you have to kind of wait for the thing to reset.
Oh yeah.
There
That was
we go.
crazy teams.
Crazy teams. So, you guys will get a heads up on how I'm going to take and break this up and put this out for the edits. So, hopefully that'll help you guys too.
Thank you.
Absolutely,
All right.
that's cool.
All right, let me take the
All right.
standby down and
Hi. Let me get this.
look out. Our hostess with the mostest is back.
There she comes.
There she is. All right, Deb, you ready? 3, 2, 1.
Hey, welcome to Hollywood. Red
No,
Rock
no,
Radio.
no, wait. I'm just messing with you. For crying out loud. Okay, well,
You leave him alone.
yeah. Moving along. Okay, there we go. Now, let me give you the countdown. 3, 2, 1, and you are back. Actually, Deb, before we come back, announce it like it's a new show. Okay?
Am I even? Can you guys even see me?
No, you're not on camera anymore, but that's fine.
That's all right, I am.
Okay, there you go. All right. So we'll bring it back like we gonna restart it all over again, and then not part 1, part 2. Well, you can say this is part 2 of a show that we completed.
All right. What we'll do is we'll do brief introductions, and then we'll talk about the books, and then we'll move on.
Sounds good. That's a great plan. Here we go. 3, 2, 1, go.
Welcome to Hollywood Red Carpet Radio Show Part 2. I have some incredible guests here. We have Jack Carey and we have Siren Wind. Two of the most incredibly intelligent people in the cosmos, I'll just say. Okay? Welcome back to the show, guys. Jack, we'll start with you, and let's talk a little bit about the books that you've published, a little bit about each one of those, and then we'll move over to Simon.
Oh Lord, well, I have a lot of books out there because I've been doing this for so long. But you know, probably the one I would tell everybody. I have a new release, and it's called The Devil's Key, and in it I basically trace all of the evidence for the idea that there are vast quartz crystal deposits around the planet. These quartz crystal deposits can become ionized, and when they do, they're able to open interdimensional doorways. When that happens, we get intermittent contact between us and life forms on other dimensions, and we describe that as paranormal in nature. And so I present a number of cases in The Devil's Key and basically discuss the actual scientific mechanism that would have to take place for that to occur. Hopefully in an effort to kind of zero in on what the mechanism is that's occurring, that's causing all of these mysterious missing person cases in these various areas where there are large quartz crystal deposits. So
that's awesome. Now, do you have the name of your books?
Yeah, I sure do. If you just do an author search on Amazon, all 10 of my books will come up. I have published books on Bigfoot, on cryptid animal. I have a North American cryptid animal guide. I've got a book on the dog-man phenomenon called Dog-Man Legend Meets Science, in which we actually discuss the science behind the sightings of what might be an actual living species, you know. But if you do an author search, they'll all pop up, and each one covers a different type of paranormal phenomenon. So,
wow, that's incredible. And Simon, talk a little bit about your books, and because you've got a lot going on as well.
Oh, yes, there's actually 6. There's 6 that you can find all on Amazon as well, versus, saying all the different titles, because they're very, very different. Different frequencies and energies, and they're all healing and activating with variations of color frequencies, number sequences, a word, which is high frequency poetry that stimulates, activates, opens, clears, expands through light codes, geometric templates. There's geometric drawings that are ancient codes that are very similar to, a lot of people have said they're similar to things they've seen on ancient pyramids, structures, etc., meant to activate one's own dormancies. So some of the different books have openings for journaling, automatic writing. They might get sparked to write their own light languages, have remembrances that way. One specifically is called Activations for a New Earth. And every single book, for example, especially that one, is created on a different part of the magnetics of the Earth. So there's different energies within it and different information that would come through. Another was Let There Be Light, was created on the Eclipse Gateway, with all the energies flowing through the Eclipse Gateway, and it was on the direct line of totality. Like literally, there was a Caltech science person there standing between 2 trees saying, we're here to give a presentation because this is the direct line of totality for the North American line. And I just happened to be there. So this whole book was sparked through that, the energies, light, frequencies, And if you do a search of my name, kind of like Jack was mentioning, on Amazon, you'll find all 6 with all of the descriptions, as some are in full color with different intentions, that you may be drawn to different ones at different points in your life to to expand with. So all energy transformational, activating to essentially accelerate remembrance of what we all have as inner dormancies.
That's incredible. And I was looking a little bit at the writing. I've never seen anything like that, other than, like you said, the Egyptians. How did you learn this? Because I wouldn't know if I was in your shoes before you were. I wouldn't have no idea what I would be looking for.
Right. Well, when I was younger, probably 3 to 4 years old, I would spend hours and hours drawing. And in my early days of school, we were in a Catholic grade school, and I would draw these symbols in Mary's halo. I was drawing these symbols in Mary's halo, and we had nuns, right? They were saying, "What is that? What are you doing?" And that's what I was seeing in the halo, in the light, was the different symbols as ancient information, which some people call light codes, light language, which one code has so much information and ancient technology that can do so many things when it's active. And that was this original spark of creating the books with the poetry, was that it has the potentiality when active to really activate a multitude of things, bridge, anchor, energy. It can clear, it can open, it can transfigure, especially the geometric templates. We look at, blueprints and divine design. There's all these different functionalities of light codes. And so, depending on the book, they're specifically created for those purposes.
Wow. And Jack, have you ever experienced anything of like what she's talking about? Because these codes that she's talking about, because I've never heard of them.
I have not, but but what comes to mind when she discusses the like symbols and stuff is the sort of lost language of Enoch and the angelic beings, that Edward Kelly and John Dee were said to have channeled, and they were presented with this language, one symbol at a time backwards, this alphabet, which is interesting because it's since been studied by philologists, people that study the formation of languages themselves. And this is a complete language. And they say that it's impossible for anyone to just invent a language. And here's one that just appears out of nowhere, out of thin air, in history, complete with syntax and you name it, all of the things that make up a language. And they got it from, ethereal beings.
Right.
Like, it's almost like you're getting downloads from something of a higher being.
Right.
To get that knowledge to create, I don't know, is it like letters or is it symbols?
Well, it's more, I guess somebody would probably say, more symbology looking, because it's not an actual alphabet. But what's within it, because we're basically writing light, is what's happening is it's light, and it's technology. So that which is in each symbol is completely different, but there's just a massive amount of information within it, say whatever the purpose is, whatever it's holding, whatever frequency that it's vibrating at, whatever potentiality it has, and when anchored or offered in a certain way or a certain place, can completely transform energy. It can bring through a multitude of possibility, and everyone really has that possibility the same way they have a telepathic communication. Everybody has a possibility for that as well innately, where we're returning to now. But essentially, light language, or light codes, is a soul to soul transmission that is felt, like that sensation that's felt, not necessarily like translated sentence to sentence, but it'll have an intentionality to it, or how somebody's experiencing it, whether they hear it or they see it. It comes through hand movements, etc. There's a transformation of energy. There's an anchoring. There's and a lot of like these ancient structures or buildings, it was encoded in a way that it couldn't be deciphered to keep it pure, at the right time to be released or to be reinstated, when the consciousness of the planet and humanity was able to not invert it, because a lot of these things were inverted when the technology was brought out, and then it was misused or created in a way that was not ideal, right?
Right.
See, let's not NASA get a hold of this, because that special language is maybe connected to something else way higher than us. The beings are maybe there's a possibility these beings are using this to help you becoming connected. Because what is your thought process?
Well, there's different perceptions on the codes in the languages. That some people will say that they're actually like channeling a being or a collective, or it's coming specifically from someone or somewhere, or knowing it's somebody that walked here in a body at some point, connecting with them to share information. But I specifically don't channel from other beings. Like, I don't call for anyone or bring anyone through. To me, it's my soul language. It's the codes that I'm carrying, and I'm bringing it through language, through the frequencies I create for like meditations, for the energy sessions, for transforming energy is literally source energy through me, through my vessel, as it's tuned, and as I'm tuning and toning it to create an effect of transformation or anchoring or shifting or opening, and depending what I'm doing, if it's with the earth or with someone working with their multidimensional layers to clear, access, activate, will be different. So it might sound differently, it might come out differently, it might be a conjunction of the hands and the tones, or where it sounds like an actual language. But it all depends on what's in those codes, what's in them, and what are their intention. So somebody may even perceive it differently than another, the way that they hear it sound, just as we perceive a sentence or somebody's, what they're saying differently. You could say something to someone, and someone in the same room will hear completely different translation, and you might even say, well, that's not what I said. It's like, well, they'll perceive it how they perceive it, or whatever it'll bring up or out or activate within them, or sometimes trigger even in some kind of a transformative way, will be based off of the energy of it. So that's how you see some of the ancient languages, they look different. So, different translations, different codes are from different star systems, even have a different way of writing. Some are horizontal. I typically write completely vertical, where it's up and down, and it's not always the perceived left to right. It's whatever's coming through, or the geometrics of it has a very specific configuration for whatever the function is.
And the up and down is Japanese too. I do believe that's how they write, is in rows, going like that, not like we write like this.
Yeah, yeah.
And they have also similar, like, I would say similar like codes, because their letters look more like, little houses and lines and dots. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I've seen different, like those kinds of languages or calligraphy, and it has sort of a similar layout, you could say,
Yeah.
because it's more vertical, and there are some strings of the translation or of the code that are connected. You know, where the code lines are connected. Each part of the information is connected. Some are more individuated, where there's a small symbol, then there's another line. You know, depending on what it's actually for. But it does have sort of that look to it, in a way.
Oh, yeah, that's amazing. Now, Jack, what are some adventures that you're looking forward to doing moving forward? Because I know we've only got a few more minutes with you, and I would love to get some more information out of you. So,
Sure. Well,
amazing year.
I did want to touch on that whole language idea
Oh, sure.
um, because you know the Enochian language was constructed in such a way that each one of these symbols really is what they are. Each one's a symbol obtained by these non-human intelligences, right? And each one of those symbols equates to a number, and each number equates to a frequency, right? It's called, this is called a notericon in like ancient Hebrew. Actually, you can do this with ancient Hebrew too. But what you can do is actually mathematically imagine a language constructed in such a way that you can mathematically construct words that contain entire sentences within them, so that when you speak a sentence, you're actually speaking like 10 sentences, right? But that are pronounced in such a way that they emit mathematically accurate harmonic frequencies that work like a hacker code on the reality matrix around us. Yes. Imagine a language that you can speak a word and cause instantaneous change in the reality matrix around you. That's the kind of language that the Enochian language appears to be.
Wow. That's amazing.
That's the potentiality of that as well. I mean, it's just, it has to be activated and intentionalized in that way. Otherwise, it's just like people talking with no energy in it. It doesn't really do anything, right? But it's the aware, when you come to the awareness of the frequencies and how you're imbuing that, then it has real transformation potential.
Absolutely. And you know, you asked the question, what I'm up to these days really is preparing mentally, physically, spiritually for the changes that are about to sweep through the planet and humanity in ways that are really going to take your breath away.
Do you have any advice for people that are unaware?
Yeah, I've been telling people, you know, this is the future few months and really going at all the way into like 2027. We can describe that as the end of days as we understand our concept of time, right? And really, there's only a few things you can do, because this isn't a bug out situation. This is a bug in situation. And I've been encouraging people to sort of learn how to sort of fortify their homes, find a space within your home, turn it into a Zen, garden-like meditative space where you can retreat from the chaos waves coming from the world, because it's going to be pretty turbulent on the old great space roller coaster, as I like to call it. And we have to remember that there's, you know, in my circles, we call people that are not really initiated into this understanding that we all share, normies, and the world is full of billions of normies, and they live in a carefully constructed illusion with white picket fences and the whole thing, and all of that's about to get ripped out of their hands like a little security blanket that a baby's holding. Right. And that's going to be a lot of change all at once. And so it's going to be important to kind of find your own safe space. Make your home your safe space. Make it your castle. Make it your fortified fortress. Make it the place that you can sort of hunker down and just get through the next few months, because on the other side, good things occur. Webbot talks about sci-fi world emerging. We're going to come up to a point here where all of the money that's been used to keep all of this alien technology we possess a secret, that all dries up and goes away, right? Doge was a big part of that. Doge found 13 magic money machines in the treasury that were just printing money that was going into all kinds of black holes that they can't even trace, black budgets, just printing it.
Wow.
Just
Wow.
nobody even tracking it. In fact, it didn't even have the codes on it to be able to track how much they had printed, right? Well, the Webbot says that all of that money
to break the country.
Yeah, that's being funneled into these deep, what they call special access programs that contain all of this back engineered alien technology, and all of that money dries up. And when it dries up, so does the secrecy surrounding it. And that technology gets leaked out into the populace. And once it does, we have sci-fi world emerging. Amazing technologies, even medical technologies that will allow for long, long lifespans. Imagine living 200-300 years easily. That
I
kind
wouldn't
of
want the wrinkles of a 300-year-old person, but I kind of. It would be nice to see your great grandchildren.
right.
But imagine what your body would look like.
Well, you would regenerate that too.
Freeze preserve.
Well, they'll be able to. Right now, they can almost 3D print you an organ made out of your own DNA.
That's crazy.
So
I think that's crazy. I don't think we should have that type of power. To be honest,
right.
I think our DNAs are perfect the way they are. I mean, not everybody's perfect, but you know what I'm saying? Perfect as the human being can be.
Right. But I would, and I would tell everybody out there, don't, there's going to be some scary waves coming. There's going to be some scary waves, but on the other side of those waves are good things, because we throw away all of the old castings of the old age, right? All of the secrets that keep us imprisoned right now on this planet were all accrued over the age of Pisces. And the age of Aquarius is the age when all secrets become revealed. Well, think of each secret as it gets revealed in our event stream as a species, causing a little earthquake going off, right?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
You got a lot of these earthquakes about to occur, because each one, there are repercussions for secrecy. And those repercussions are felt on the backside when it's no longer secret. So all of those secrets get revealed. That is the Great Awakening. That's the great freedom that awaits us, the liberation that awaits us. But it's going to be a shocking sort of long, period here where we have earthquake after earthquake of secret being revealed. Everything you can think of is about to just come out. Everything from the JFK assassination to alien technology to the Epstein files to the fact that it appears as though there have been human beings engaged in an eons long communication with non-human intelligences in order to keep the rest of us enslaved. All of that comes to an end.
Wow. That's awesome. Thank you for sharing all of that incredible information with us. I'm very blessed to have had you come and share with us. I think we're helping to educate people on the different aspects of the unknown. And I've never heard of this stuff, so to me it's interesting. Great. And I appreciate your input, your knowledge, your study, because I know that it could not have been easy to find a direction to study because there's so many different things. Like you said, you work with a lot of different things. But now you are going on tour. Is that correct?
No, I'm not going on tour anytime soon because of the next few months. We're hunkered down here now.
I hear you. There's going to be some stuff happening. We don't want to mess with that.
Yeah, I wouldn't advise travel if you have the means and ability to get away from highly populated centers. That would be advisable. The webbot does say, and I'm not an economic guy or a financial advisor of any kind, but it has for a long time predicted that the metal silver, which is utilized in all the high technology, right, will become, it will become what it phrases unobtainium. So imagine a metal so valuable that it's literally unobtainable anymore. Like it goes on parity with the price of gold. And then it really takes off because the silver market, and I'll leave you guys with this, the silver market for the last 80 years has been manipulated in such a way that these banksters have been able to write derivative contracts against their manipulation. Derivative contracts that literally go into the many, many trillions, even hundreds of trillions of dollars. All of that comes to an end. Their ability to manipulate the silver market ends, and when it ends, all of that comes back to roost. And that is the absolute end of the petrodollar and the debt system as we know it. So we have that to look forward to. Yep.
We need that now.
Yes. It's coming. We're going to have real money soon.
Oh, wouldn't that be something, huh?
Mm-hmm.
Wouldn't that be ironic? We finally, people will be stop the starvation, stop the homeless. Well, as best as we can. But and then maybe they can fight against the drugs because that's killing people left and right. I mean, it's sad, but like all of us have lost people to fentanyl. All of us. It's so close. You don't think it's real until it's in your circle. Till somebody actually usually young, dies in your circle. So hopefully all of this benefit will help to heal all of us.
Absolutely. And I foresee a time. I'm a firm believer that people utilize those substances because they're treating the pain caused by all of the secrets that we've accrued over this past age. All of that comes to an end, and I think when it does, the need to try to kill the pain will also come to an end because we'll have a fresh, new, actual understanding of our reality and the nature of the universe itself. So
that's amazing. Thank you, Jack, for joining us.
Thank you, Debbie. Anytime. I appreciate it. And I hope you guys have a great day.
Thank you, Jack.
You too.
All right. Bye.
Thank you. Bye. Isn't that amazing? It makes me think, like what direction should we be moving in, Siren? Like, because of the energies, and you know so much about the different energies. If somebody like me didn't somebody like me, but I don't know nothing about it, and I'm just interested in learning. Well, how would you, or what direction would you take somebody in that is interested, but yet they've never thought, like, how do I go about learning?
Right. Well, the simplest way is tuning into yourself when you're still, when you're in stillness. Meaning that, say you're, outdoors is a great place to connect, a great way to connect and feel energy. Just allowing yourself to feel energy is a real basic beginning point where if you're feeling the sun, you're feeling the sun on your face, how does that feel? How do you feel when the birds are singing? Really simple privileges being on earth. We're surrounded by matter and we're surrounded by beauty, and how does it feel to receive that helps us in our present moment to be present in whatever our experiences, that nothing is mundane. You know, they're going to the grocery store isn't mundane. There's so many possibilities that we could feel and allow ourselves to feel, which will help us tune into our heart and allow us to through these processes of transformation, all these transitions that are going on, it'll help us stay present and also reset our own energy, because we can literally reset our energy even if we experience something that might feel a little stressful, or another person that is having a more difficult time. Once we allow ourselves to really be present with our feelings, we can shift out of that so much faster just by tuning in. So really refining our own energy and finding those simple delights, like, you know, the birds or the sun or going for a walk, that allow us to reset and allow us to connect to really the infinite source of energy, you know, by any and all names, you know, source, creator, God, all the names that is the same energy. It helps us connect to those fields of purity to show us how to go within, you know, how we can go within and find our still point, our heart, what makes us happy through our own transitions.
Because when I want to reconnect with myself, I actually go swimming in the river.
Right.
Not in the lake, not in the ocean, although the ocean does work for me too. But in the lake. In the river. The river gives me energy. I don't know how that water balance, because we're all made up of mostly water. I don't know how that water base works for me, but I always feel it's almost like it's like, I don't know if it's like reborn, or my energy level is where it might have been more closer to negative. Now it's more positive. It's almost like it cleanses me.
Right.
And I don't know if you experience that, but that's my form of meditation pretty much. It's like when I can dip my feet in and still get that rush of positive.
Right.
And I don't know if it's Native American waters or how that works, but I'm a firm believer that things in nature can bring us right back to our original form.
Oh yeah, it's a primordial energy, and it has a memory. You know, water, we're filled with water, and there's a memory, there's a harmonic, there's a tone, there's a frequency, and if we're in the water, that sheer movement or the ripple or the sound of water is working with our system. You know, it's working with our nervous system, it's working with even our brain, our sensations, our pores. You know, everything can be felt there, and whether it's all known the entire details of what's occurring, the water as a conscious element has the helpful co-creation to do so. And it really is, it's simple and instantaneous. It can be that, like, what, like the term "go to your happy place" could really be something that simple, right?
Because we all have one. And
Right.
and I think that we don't tap enough into the happy place. Like, we're so in a rush, in the hustle and the bustle of our lives. We can't stop to smell the coffee, let alone the roses. We just
Right.
don't, because people rush us. And I want to say most of us, well, not the younger generation, but our generation, comes from a generation where you had to be a little bit slower. That was a benefit to you, because, you know, if you are always rushing, you're going to trip and fall. You're going to get in an auto accident. Something's going to happen that if you were just a little slower and you were less worried about, like, I've got to be there in 5 minutes. Instead, take it back a little bit and go, okay, I'll be a few minutes late, but I'm still going to be good.
Right.
You know what I'm
Right.
saying?
Oh yeah, I mean all of these things that are going on are the opportunity to learn presence again, to come back to the present moment, come back to the simplicity of breath, not be in a rush because nothing, I mean, what happens with a rush? Nothing that's in presence because you're focusing on your next moment, so you're not even in the one that you're actually in. You're planning for the next one. So how will you ever arrive to where you're going if you're not where you're at right now? So
You're
it's
out, yeah,
helping.
you're jumping lines. You're jumping
Right.
time.
Right. So it's in a roundabout, orchestrated way, this is whole series of experiences is helping everyone to come back to center, come back to presence, come back to intention. What are we intending? Because certainly, however it would feel to be rushed doesn't feel, nice, right? Doesn't feel
No, nobody
desirable.
likes it either. I mean,
Yeah, you're not enjoying it.
no, and
It's just a process.
oh, and I think when you're rushed, your brain is not in a place where you're comfortable. You're not relaxed. You're trying to beat the clock, but you're also like you said, the time frame. Things are off.
Right.
So let's just say everybody take back a step and just be more patient because the generation we grew up in, we had no choice to be patient. Like you didn't, you couldn't just pick your phone up because it rang because it was at your house. You had to get home to get the phone call. You didn't have an answer machine and you didn't have a maid, so you had to get home and then hope your friend calls back or your business partner or whoever, and that you're home enough to catch the call. But there was no like, oh, they're not calling me right back, so they must not like me anymore. People have jumped to conclusions because of this new technology has pushed us in a direction where we don't even think anymore. Like it's thinking for us at all times.
Right. Well, the purpose too is coherence, like the brain and the heart, coherence, all of the systems, especially the nervous system, where the nervous system gets out of whack and then nothing is communicating to each other within, and then the exterior, all the body, the energy body, everything gets a little wayward. But coherence is where you're in balance, you're in harmony and balance, and creating that is part of that is presence. Being present, it feels different. It has a different energy to it, where there's not really any space for the thoughts to be doing all those other things, or getting into those wayward cycles, or even magnetics, where other people that are in those chaotic energies won't even come around, or you might not be visible to them because they're in a completely different dimensional frequency, and they're blurring by because they're in a hurry, and you're in the water for a swim. So it's like, you don't even need to expend any energy on what you're not doing or what you're trying to not have happen, because you're coherently creating your reality, which is really who we all are, as these creators of our reality. And reminding ourselves through all of these cycles is how to do that, how to harness that, how to create that in a way that's aligned for each soul, why they came. When we dissolve all this other stuff that's so noisy, the distractions, all the confusion, all these distortions that are falling away, then we can come into that hearing ourselves, knowing what we're feeling, like, feeling our intuition, knowing what's right for us moment to moment, instead of a notebook planned full of things that are no longer relevant to who we are right now or where we're going.
And I think that people manifest they manifest the wrong things. They want the easy fix. They want to manifest things that are quick and I want to say instantaneous. They see something, they have to have it. So they manifest it into their life, whether it's good for their life or not.
Right.
How to avoid the manifestations of negative things or things that are just not meant to be. in their life.
Right. Well, something that's kind of interesting when I was a child, because of the telepathic way I was seeing the energy when people would have thoughts, like I could see the shapes and the colors of what they were thinking. I was so confused. I was confused how I could feel their thought was one thing, and then they were saying something different than what they were thinking, and then their outcome was a third thing, which was nothing like what they said or thought, because it was all this decoherence, because their thought and their intentions were different. The energy they were emitting was different, so their
Oh,
result was even furtherly different. And they were so, their outcome would be, frustration, anger, irritation, etc., because there's nothing communicating in proper harmonics with each other, because they're all saying a different sentence over on the top of each other. So no, it's what it was communicating in their reality, something that they'd say, oh, I don't want that. Well, of course, more of that, what you don't want, is happening, because nothing is even talking to each other. They can't hear each other because they're all on different planes. I mean, in a way to look at it, right?
oh, sure. And something that Jack was saying, I was wondering about your intake on that, where he was explaining that the next few weeks there's going to be um, a lot of like weird things just kind of like happening to all of us, and to meditate. What are your thoughts on that process, or just that subject in itself?
Well, I know that everything that needs to be dissolved is, because it has to collapse. I mean, that's in order for everything to be rebuilt correctly, it has, all this other stuff has to dissolve. But that also makes the space for what's correct and aligned and
Yeah.
proper order to be rebuilt. Like, that's what's making the space, is to move all this other stuff out of the way, clear it out. So
Oh, yeah.
there's going to be waves of, you could say information, energy movement, shifts in the earth, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, and on all these different structures that need to come apart. And it's so vast of what's been, out of harmonics, that it's going to fizzle apart in so many different ways. But if we focus on those things, for example, like going for a swim, going for a walk, focusing within our heart, finding something that makes us happy, that brings us joy, that makes us feel centered and comfortable, happy, joyous, friends, etc., parks, hiking, drawing, journaling, or even moving energy through journaling, then we don't get swayed into these other things. It doesn't mean we're denying they're not happening, but we're focusing on why it's happening, because it has to happen for the reconfiguration and the unification. All of this stuff has to get cleared out, because you're not going to build a new house on a structure. Say you have a structure that's a 1900s house, just an example, but a 1900s house, and it needs renovation. You don't just start patching it with drywall and right, it's going to fall down again. You have to
You
take
never
it
know
all
what's
the way
behind the
down.
wall. Yeah,
Right.
you don't know you don't even know the bones of what's going on with the inners of the walls. Because I personally live in a 220-year-old house, and God forbid you take a wall down in this house. They're made like bricks. They're solid all over. But
Right.
if you do, I have no idea what's in the walls. I'm afraid to find out. I don't want to
Right.
find. I don't want to find John in the walls. You know.
Right. You don't know what you're going to find, and
No,
that's the
you
thing.
don't know. No, you don't know.
Yes.
I don't want to, and I'm
Okay.
not ready to find out. But
Right.
I think that's funny. That's so funny. But now, is there anything that a person could help themselves, their body, their shell, dietary wise? Is there something that people could ingest that will help them through this process? Because if you didn't notice, there's a lot of people with lactose intolerance, peanut allergies, all these different things that when I grew up, are the next generation, the new generation, are all allergic to. Dietary products like milk and creams and butters. God forbid all of my kids have like lactose intolerance. Now, if you didn't drink your milk when you was at the dinner table, you weren't getting anything else. So I'm just trying to figure out, like, is there something that our bodies would much rather have in them that will help us through this process of the waves, because I mean, we all want to eat healthier and we all want to have a good shell.
Right. But water is huge. Lots of liquid water, but the intention that is within the water too. For example, you can technically purify and change the energy of anything. And there's a lot of engineered foods. Obviously, the soy is a big one, causing all the endocrine disruptions. Beyond that, like so many other disruptions within the body, the soy and all the goo that's in these engineered foods. And so to purify, if you're going to look at the solid foods, come to natural foods, organic, something that is grown in the soil or greenhouse preferably. But if there's ever a question, change the energy, pray over it or say thank you, but you give gratitude to your water, your food. That will change the energy, just like anything else. How you are with it before you actually eat it is a huge thing. There's people that'll drink certain kinds of things, for example, and say before they drink it, oh, this is going to kill me. Well, then they'll get them sick. But if they're going to eat a cookie, but if you eat like if you eat a cookie and you're gonna love, right, you love your cookie before you eat it. Oh, all of a sudden that cookie is the most like delicious delivering of nourishment cookie.
But if you're like, oh, I got water. I don't want to like water. I'm going to drink the water. Then the water don't taste as good.
Right.
Or your brain says to you, you don't like this water. Right. You're not going to like this water.
It's huge.
But if you go, oh my goodness, I can't wait to drink this water. Yeah. Now you've just changed the whole program, the whole DNA of the water.
Just the whole frequency of it.
Oh, I need it to refresh me. So when you drink it, your thoughts are refreshing. Then it's refreshing.
Exactly.
So we trick ourselves.
And we have that power in any moment to do that, to really transform anything like that. You'd say, oh, it's just a cup of water. No, it's actually much beyond that, because look at how vast water is. Look at how big your system is, how much water is within it, or your blood, or even your brain, your neurons, your cells, and without getting scientific, because it's not necessary. It's just simple, looking at how everything functions from within to without. It's a mirror. And how are we going to treat ourselves, or if we have gratitude for what we have, brings more of that. Versus, it's just, it's just a bag, it's just a cookie. It's like, no, it's the most amazing peanut butter cookie I've ever had. It's going to be so delicious, so appreciated, so received. Your body will receive it differently. It'll digest it differently. It'll process all of it differently.
Yeah, that's funny. That's really great to know, though, because now you got me thinking totally different about, like, what I put in my body.
Yeah.
Because I think I actually needed to hear this, because, we all at times neglect ourselves. Like driving through McDonald's or something. Like being able to, like, detox from garbage in, garbage out.
Right.
Now, before we get ready to go, we got a few more minutes. Tell me what you're going to be working on, or what your future in the next few years looks like for you. Like, is there some things that are coming up for you? What would you like to be doing?
Oh, yeah. Well, very immediately, I guess you could say, is there's a Full Disclosure Now conference in Florida in July. I'll be there as a vendor with my books, with frequency transformative tools, and there's so many speakers there talking about very much similar to what we've been discussing: disclosure, energy transformation, evolution, humanity's emancipation. freedom, and it's also a great place to connect with other people that are doing amazing things. So that's the next more immediate event coming up for me. I'll be there. I'll be there along with many others, and that's in Florida. And have a few other conferences coming up later in February. The Conscious Life Expo,
wow.
and yes, Los Angeles will be in Los Angeles in February. So we'll be doing some traveling, sharing information, sharing frequency, positivity, energy, and also, sharing with people how they can be their own transformers of energy, because we all are sound healers. Even though there's tools of the books, the sound healings, the meditations, the energy sessions I offer, it's also to reflect to people they can do the same thing. Yes.
I was going to ask you about that. Do you train classes, or do you do galleries or something that brings people to you so that you can work one-on-one?
Yes, I do. I do healing sessions, frequency sessions, one-on-one. If they're in a different part of the globe or the country, we can do it through a Zoom call. But that's also why I like to go to events as well, so you can meet others. But in person, through the one-on-one, I have group events that are online and in person on my calendar page, which is on my website. Also shows the upcoming events I'll be at on the calendar page, as well as the description of the book. So there's lots of tools, meditation tools people can download to help them center, to ground through these processes of change. So there's a lot of tools. I like to create different tools for people they can use on their own, so they can explore intuitively how to use them.
Now, do you have a podcast? Because your website, I saw on the podcast site, was that podcast that you've been on, or is that like your own?
That's mine. Yeah, it's
Really?
Returning Home Cosmic and Unity Consciousness is the name of the podcast, and it's not on a radio channel in the way that yours is. It's on recording, and then it'll be on my YouTube channel. So I have, through the YouTube channel, which you can also find on the website, a link as well. There's podcasts, there's frequency meditations, there's attunements, activations, and other roundtables. I like roundtables also, where people can come together and talk, learn together.
So we got a couple minutes. Tell people where they can get a hold of you.
Oh, sure. Well, my website's kind of long, so hopefully you can put it in the chat box, maybe. It's inner, INNER, like inner within, intergalacticenergyhealing.com. So they can find everything on that website, the YouTube, the Facebook, the events, the calendar page, the book links, how to find the author page through Amazon. They can find everything there. Or if you Google my name, you probably can find a lot of that information also, as it's spelled. It usually links to the website. So yeah, they all have interwoven through the main website, where you can find schedule energy sessions through there, one-on-one or in person. I welcome in person also, and I'm in Arizona, so.
Excellent. That's awesome. Siren, thank you so much for coming on. I've had such a great couple hours with you and Jack. I feel blessed.
Yes, me too. I so enjoyed it. Thank you so much for having me on. Thank you.
It was wonderful. We'll have you back. So that's our show, everybody, for today. And I want to thank you for listening. And join us in a couple weeks. And I'll be having another surprise. You just never know with us. Well, thank you again. Have a great day, everybody.
Thank you.